episode 1, we've discussed value twist in our special telecast on the Real Kisan Kalyan. Episode 2 today, we are focusing on value addition as farmers seek to boost their farm income. There's a growing interest in enhancing the value of raw agricultural products. This can be achieved through various means such as cleaning, packaging, processing and distributing nowadays. Adding value is more about the selling experience and intangible attributes rather than just the product itself. Due to regulations in food processing, some may opt for alternative ways to add value, like producer-controlled processing for energy or non-food uses. Additionally, smaller scale options like crafting flower arrangements or making handmade soaps from sheep's and goat milk are also gaining popularity. The stark contrast between raw and processed foods amplifies the profit margin for sellers of the final product, often more than doubling their earnings. Yet the pressing question remains, how can farmers transition into value-added production and become sellers of end products as well? Joining us at this point live is Sharat Kohli, senior economist. We also have Sanjay Nath Singh, Secretary General, All India Farmers Association, joining us live. Let me make a start with you first, Sanjay Nath Singh, on how we can go about value addition for farmers, which can further boost income and the rate for their produce.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for letting me into this conversation. You see, the most important thing to enhance the income of the farmers without going through the MSP route is first to correct a couple of other activities. Just a second. Is to correct various other agricultural structure. We need to correct that, and I think the 3 farm laws had brought in those changes, but unfortunately they were taken back. Not that I'm just plainly supportive of a government action, but I think this was the demand that most of the farmer leaders, including Mr. Sarat Joshi, had asked for more than 20 years. And then we had these farm laws which would have given a free market situation for the farmers. Unless until we have that, and we have to get into value addition, you have to get in money to the farmlands. You have to get money, investments, which will value add to the farm produce. Now that is possible only with the companies having agricultural who are into the agricultural food packaging and things like that. Then only something will happen. Otherwise, if you are going to just keep the entire economy, agricultural economy, based on MSP, which unfortunately is no longer the minimum support price, it has become the maximum selling price. And we all know that most of the cartels in the mandi system, they don't buy at MSP. They kind of force our farmers to sell at a lower price. So that is the situation. So you have to change the entire infrastructure, the entire environment which controls the agricultural economy of this country. That's what I feel.
Yes. Okay. Let me take that to Sharat Kohli. Sharat Kohli, it's about overall value addition these days. That is how a product's value goes up. Be it a product which is in the FMCG space, be it a product which is an agricultural product, be it a product which is in the cosmetic space as well. A value addition overall is very, very important, isn't it, Sharat? And that is something that perhaps farmers also need to look at.
Good evening, Uday, and good evening to NewsX viewers. A very pertinent point, Uday. Value addition is the key to this problem. And there are 2 ways of doing it. One is because right now the farmers come from a certain mindset. They are not used to this kind of value addition. Well, people who are watching us right now, I think they will be able to relate to what I'm saying. When you go and buy, let's say rice, let's say 2 kilos of rice for your home use, you can go to a traditional grocery shop, let's say somewhere in old Delhi or in an old traditional market where those sacks of rice are lying, and somebody just scoops out on a traditional scale and weighs it for you. The other way is you go to an upmarket shop where it's lying very neatly packed, pre-measured, and there's a billing counter and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, there's a price difference between two, which is exactly what you mean by value addition. Now, the problem here is that the farmers, they come from a traditional mindset. They are not used to making these products look value added. So there are two ways. One way is we must train the farmers to educate them on how whatever they are growing can be value added. That's one way, which is a formal training. Now, this training would have to be done at the ground level, village to village, and on the spot. I mean, I can't invite a farmer group, to, let's say, in Delhi or Mumbai or Bengaluru to come and train. It will have to be done at the ground level on an as-is, where-is basis. Probably a village panchayat or somebody's hall or somebody's building can be hired, where this group of farmers can be trained at the ground level that, look, the same thing which you're selling, this is what we can do to that to maximize your income, and you don't need to go to these aartis. That's one way. Second, and a very important way, Uday, is, which I have been speaking for a long time, is that we encourage these startups to reach out to farmers. Well, if farmers can't do it themselves, probably they may not be educated enough to probably even after training, some of the farmers may find reservations. So the startups can reach the farmers. So the present long chain, I'm sure Sanjay would agree with that. There's a long chain right now. When the produce happens, first you go to the aarti. After the aarti, I think you are in the hands of that agent, and there is an auction system or whatever. Thereafter comes a wholesaler. Then of course there is in between. Sometimes there is distributor, then the retailer, and then the customer. So I calculated, Uday, there is a 4-level chain on an average before produce reaches the end consumer. If this 4 level can be reduced to 2 levels, which is one, you go to the startup or startup comes to you and startup directly starts retailing. I think that will have two advantages. One, value addition to the product. Two, cutting down what the middlemen are right now taking as the cream. The 2 rupee tomato being bought by a consumer for 50 rupees. Now, where is the 48 rupees going? It's going to this 4-level chain that I spoke of. Some goes into hoarding as well. So I think this chain will cut down. So it will have a two-pronged advantage. One, the chain gets cut down. Two, value addition happens. So I would encourage, I think the government must immediately start with Startup India is already in place. I think what you can do is we can offer special incentives to those startups who are right now. The incentive for startup is that if you're a registered startup for 7 years, you get a 3-year tax exemption. That's one of the advantages. We can introduce some more incentives for startups who want to come forward, go down to the villages, buy the produce of the farmers, or market along with farmers, that they can keep some portion for themselves, and most of the portion can go to farmers. Neither the farmer would mind nor the startup would mind. And I can tell you this can work magic, just that the startups are not bothered to go to villages. There is a big gap. There's a big business opportunity for the startups here, not just for the farmers. I'm talking from both ends now. So for me, these are the two immediate solutions which can be implemented, and they are not very difficult to do. I'm a startup mentor myself. I can tell you how easy this is. And I'm sure these startups will come into profits from day one. Right now, we have startups which have got a gestation period of 3 to 5 years. This is a startup which can start yielding you in 3 to 6 months. So I think it's a golden opportunity. Plus, this will also bring in technology to the agriculture, because these startups will come out with ideas which are tech driven, and the farmers will not just be able to sell, but will be able to improvise their future produce in the times to come.
Yes, perhaps that's something that the farmers do need to concentrate on as well. Sanjay Nath Singh, what steps should be immediately taken in this direction, according to you?
Quite agree with Dr. Sharat Kohli on his views of startups. I think that the first thing is to form cooperatives. The government should try and form cooperatives of the marginalized and small farmers. Something on the way the Amul Anand Dairy, Amul model, because you look at it, it's such a huge brand today, Amul. Similarly, you could have a similar thing in food grains. You could have similar thing in vegetables, dehydrated vegetables, which could be marketed like the Safal is doing it. So, so this is something immediately we should get into it, and we have definitely educate our farmers. And as Dr. Sharat Wali said, we have to go to the villages, to the panchayats, and start talking over there. Now, unless until we reach up to them, there will be a lot of miscommunication, and people will make use of it. Like zameen chali jayegi, somebody will come in and take away your rights and your properties and everything, which is not correct, which is something which the government can easily stop it. But the action has to start with the very first thing, and that is, you have to deconstruct the present in ecosystem of the Indian agriculture. It may cause somewhat of disruption, but then it has to be done. And or it can be done like previously it was done. It was suggested that we have a parallel run. You have the APMC and you have the open market, both being offered to the farmers. Now, over a period of time, after this parallel run, you can close down the APMC system. Give it a free run for some time, and whatever. And it's a dynamic kind of a situation. It is not something that you decide once and you'll stick to it, come what may. No, things change, requirements change, markets change. So one has to be very dynamic, and I feel that it is possible. It is possible, but the reach out has to be very far and wide, and then only it will happen. And come to think of it, the entire thing of the MSP is just concentrated. The kind of interest that is shown in MSP is concentrated to 2.25 state of the country. I don't see a similar kind of noise coming from other places in the country. Maybe once in a while, a little bit. And then holding the entire country to ransom on just one issue of the MSP is also unfair. That's what I feel. MSP has served its time, its usage, and we have, from ship to mouth, we have reached a situation where today we are food surplus, but it's also time to go forward and make India's farmers rich and make India's farmers prosperous, so that they continue to prosper and they continue to do good farming, and India becomes a kind of a food bowl for the entire world. That is my aim. That is what I look for.
Okay, let me also bring in Manish Bharti. He's also joined us now. He's an agri-tech entrepreneur. Manish Bharti, how important is, you believe, this stress on value addition for overall increase in farmers' income, for overall increase in value of farmers' products and produce?
Good evening, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. See, I myself as an agri-entrepreneur, as you said, I've been into floriculture for almost 18 years. Then I shifted into dairy farming. And now I have, right now I'm working on a shade net project, which is 4-acre single unit, which is one of the biggest in Uttar Pradesh. And since 1997, I'm doing marketing of my own, the products which I produce. But the irony is that, see, just giving an additional, the additional value to your products, reaching directly to the customers and selling directly to the customer is not the situation for the farmer for the country, because the people like me are hardly 0.0000001%, right? The India 140 crore people we have a population, and in that almost 50 more than 60% people who are based on agriculture or agri product business or the agri economy, they don't have the education, right? They don't have the access to the market, though they don't have the background of doing marketing and selling their own products, getting into the new technologies. We are struggling hard. So that if you bring up some the new business ventures into it, or you just make it up a small program and educate the farmer, and the thing will be resolved. No, we have to take a holistic approach. This is one of the way of improving the livelihood of a farmer in India, but this is not the only way, and this is not possible for everyone. See, in a demography, when you look into the India map, when we talk about the farmer in India, it is not only Punjab. I'm sorry, it is not about just people who live around Delhi or people who live around Mumbai or Chennai. It is when we say we are talking about the farmers in India, we are talking about each and every part of the country where the people are into agriculture business. And it is not that simple. We have a lot of startups. Like I belong to Meerut, which is hardly 70 kilometers from Delhi. And a lot of startup people have approaches us, and they try to get kind of an agreement with us and want to procure vegetables. They are doing good because hardly 50 minutes or 1 hour drive is there from our place to Delhi and Ghaziabad and Noida. It's a big, huge market to cater. But the point is, are they actually helping the farmers? No, they are not. They are also, the only thing is that they have a different name. Instead of a Lalaji, instead of a Aarti, now we have a startup, a new startup, which is agri startup, who's directly contacting the farmers. So they are not getting in any kind of a long-term agreement with the farmers. They are not giving any kind of a price assurance to the farmer. There is no competition within those startups that they can improve the thing. Still, those people are banking on the Mandi system. The price that they are giving to the farmer is not the price that they wanted to procure. No, they are quoting the price of the Mandi. आज आलू इस भाव में था, वैसे ये रेट लगेगा. This is what the point is. Now whatever, like I have a 20 acre of agriculture farm, which is 100% organic certified. I did organic farming for almost 8 years, and I have a brand name of Farmer Nest. We have our visibility on website. We have our own, small outlet in Meerut city, and we approach a lot of people. We want to sell our product. We engage directly with our customers and tell them like, look, we have a farm. Please kindly visit to our farm. Have a look what kind of agriculture practice we are doing, and how we can give you the best possible quality of food vegetables. But I have forget about me. I'm a 20 acre farmer. The average Indian farmer land is hardly 2 acres. More than 90% of in India. They don't have a big scale land holdings with them. So they simply can't scale up the things. Very well point taken by one of our senior panelists, that you can do something like Amul or Safal, like you can get into a cooperative model. But again, I'm being a dairy farmer. I initially, when I don't have a direct marketing or to sell my milk production to direct to the customers, we have get engaged with Amul also, and we have taken their collection center, and we were selling our milk to Amul directly, and they have different policies for different state. The farmer in Gujarat getting something different than what they're offering to the farmer of Uttar Pradesh. the policy of the government directly impact us. We have to understand this. It is not possible that we overlook those the government policies impact on farmers, because whatever we are producing is actually the basic necessity of the society. Every government want to control the price. Every government want to sell it on a lower price, and they just ignore the interests of the farmer. This is the hard truth. We have a simple thing, as one of our panelists says that those three laws were very good. I'm sorry, I beg to differ on that. It is not about that somebody who's take away our land. It is basically the kind of security that we required is not there. Still, why we need MSP? It is only that we just want a security that whatever we are producing and whatever the cost we're going to incur on producing those agri products, at least we should get a decent margin on it. Is it something, evil that we are asking? Well, this is a basic thing. When somebody is looking out for a job, he always look out for a better package. When somebody is opening up a factory, he calculate each and every part of the expenses on it, and then he added his profit, and then he want to sell the product on that price. Now, the problem with us is that the government intervention is there, and not in India, across the globe. You talk about any country, including even US economy, which is very open. The corporate have taken up the agriculture things. Now they are making the policies. I give you a very small example how things are going right now. In UP, especially in Western UP, I am sitting in a sugarcane belt, right? In the last 3 months, we have 3 big major policy shift in the government of India policy. First, they say we have banned, there will be no sugar export. Then they say that, okay, now no ethanol will be made out of sugar because because the price is going high. And now they've changed the entire policy. Now they say, okay, now you can export also the sugar and you can also make it ethanol. So very easily they can shift the policies in the favor of corporate. But what about the farmer?
Yes.
I'm an agri entrepreneur,
I
had done a lot of work on it.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah.
Yeah, it's all about, Sharad, moving away from, the dependence on the middleman, isn't it? Because the stark contrast between raw and processed foods, of course, shows, amplifies the profit margins for sellers of the final product. And now there may be some regulations which are there under the food processing ministry and of course food processing laws, but there are alternative ways as well to add value. Like we were talking earlier about producer control processing for energy or non-food uses, smaller scale options like crafting flour arrangements, making made soaps from sheep and also goat milk, basically, being innovative.
Absolutely, I completely agree, and I would like to beg to differ with my previous panelists. There was a lot of dichotomy in what he said. I wasn't clear whether he's happy with his business or he's not happy with his business. I mean, this was not clear because first he was sounding very pessimistic about the small farmers. Then he was sounding very convincing about his own model, then not convincing. It was a bit confusing for me to understand as to how to take it away from him. I mean, whatever he wants to convey. But the very fact, the very important point, what he raised, I would like to counter that if 90% of our farmers are on small pieces of land and they may not even own the land, they may be on contract farming or they may be working there or whatever, all the more reason we should reach out to them. Just because they are small doesn't mean it's impossible. In fact, the effort required may be of a different kind. The fact that we reach out to them, we teach them the techniques of value addition. We tell them that, look, you're probably being robbed because of multiple layers of marketing being there, multiple layers of agents being there. It's easier to reach out and speak to them, to farmers like Manish, who's sitting on 20 acres of land. I mean, he's educated. He knows he's got a portal and everything. Now, these small farmers, they don't have their own portal. So, which is why I said that a ground level reach out program is required. And who does this ground level reach out? Because government agencies cannot reach every nook and corner of the country. I think Sanjay would agree. I mean, the agriculture ministry, how many volunteers can it hire to reach from Odisha to probably to Gujarat, from Kashmir to Kanyakumari? How can so many people? So, which is why I said that we should try and solicit startups. The value addition concept, Uday, which you spoke of, There is a lot of potential. And you go to any hart which is set up, which is a modern bazaar, you're right. I mean, there are crafted materials, there are organic materials, the way they are packaged. And look at the sale price. You say, oh my God, this can sell at this price also. It comes to you as a surprise. The very reason is because there is a startup or there is an agency who saw an opportunity there. Poor farmer is not able to see the opportunity. But a very important point which I wanted to counter, Manish, is I would request him to please do not sound pessimistic that this is impossible, this is not possible, because the farmers are very small. I'm afraid I reserve my opinion on that just because there are more small farmers, so we ignore them, or we say this problem is impossible to solve. I'm afraid I would not agree with such a thought process. I feel this is doable, just that a beginning has to be made. The kind of, topic you've chosen today, I must really appreciate, because I've been doing shows on all channels today. Nobody has been very creative, constructive and positive. It's only your channel who's doing these positive shows. I'm very, very pleased with this. So if this message reaches the startups, if people who are watching us right now, if they see an opportunity here, please do come forward. There are thousands and thousands of crores of rupees to be made. I can tell you with conviction, I'm a business advisor as well. I'm a startup mentor. I can tell you there's a lot of money to be made here. And those poor farmers, they will be benefited in the process. Let them step out of this MSP sphere. They're stuck in that MSP mindset. There's a lot or bhi gum hai duniya zamane mein. That is the message which we want to convey today.
Okay. Sanjay Nath Singh, I'll leave the last word to you.
The answer to value addition and to increasing the farmer's income is probably, to my mind, is taking care of the small marginalized farmers, forming their cooperatives, contract farming for these cooperatives, getting the technology to these cooperatives, getting the markets to these cooperatives, and let them grow into a big organizations like Amul, I would say. So that is the answer to it. And definitely not, I beg to differ with holding on to the MSP. It is something which was required, government's market intervention in, to see that the farmers can produce, concentrate on production, and they are not bothered about the selling of and getting a good price. So MSP is not something to be stuck around for too long. We have stuck around with it for too long, and we have to free up the economy, and we have to organize the small farmers into cooperatives, and getting people and contract farming for these cooperatives should be encouraged.
All right, let's leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.